morning, and looky, I'm dressed seasonally appropriate. That is mostly due to the fact that I've been out of it for the past few days. I've caught some kind of flu or general scourge that's been passing around, so I am not 100%. I would probably rate myself at about 30. And then compounding that, taking Nyquil just to like force myself to rest just so I don't get whatever that was I had last year, pneumonia. I want to make bows. I want to be outside exploring. I want to shovel the trails. I want to take my Kentucky mandolin and hot rod it by putting a bone nut, a better bridge, an ebony bridge, and a cast Allen tailpiece. There's all these things I want to do. It's in my nature to go forward, to explore, to do new things, but I can't. What does that have to do with anything? You know, that's my personal problem. It harkens to what I see in our modern world. You know, there was a time when the whole world was in front of us. There were places to explore, new things to build. There was a true definition, a distinction of labor. People either created useful things or they didn't eat. And as time passed and our civilization, our current republic, our current empire has progressed, we are to the point where every empire and republic before us that failed were before the end. It was artificial. People engaged themselves not in generally creating or being useful, but it was entertainment based, more or less. Not just the service industry, but the service industry plus. And then so people lost sight of their true nature. We lost sight of being what people are. And when that happens, things fall apart. And in that respect, that is exactly like sick me, or when you're sick. You know, you're frustrated, you're not acting as yourself, things are not the way they should be. Possibly bad things happen because you can't produce and pay the bills and things crumble. That's what we're seeing in our modern world. It's so important that we engage in these activities like hunting, the primitive arts, understanding our history, understanding what we are as human beings, understanding, yes, the basic differences between male and female. Not saying that the masculine is toxic. That is so ridiculous. Just because people are different doesn't mean one is necessarily above the other. We have our functions. As people in this era, this particular time, no matter what you do, you go to a news feed, you watch the news, you pull up your Flipboard, there's all these stupid things happening today. And we could say it would be easy, well, it would be easy for us to say, I wish I was born 50 years prior or 100 years, because being in this time is somewhat scary. We're at the edge. You know, no matter what I say, I do not believe that I'm going to change anything. What is going to happen has to happen. It must happen, because we are at that stage in our development as a global society that things have to change. It can't continue like this. Something big has to happen. It needs to start anew, building, because that's what things are. Just like wildlife populations. If things are good, you get too many animals within a population, something bad has to happen to balance that off, to call that herd, and bring it back. Because we're cyclic. There is no steady state. There is no stasis. There is no equilibrium. True equilibrium. It's a matter of cycles. We either have a high rabbit population or we have a high fox population. We never see both. Ebb and flow. It's a machine. The world is a machine. The solar system is a machine. Human beings are a machine. Our population is a machine. For those of you who are into primitive archery. I know that some people watch my stuff for the philosophical slant. We could look back and say, gosh, I wish I could get a time machine and beam myself back 1,000 years ago. I wish I could beam myself back to the Ice Age. Well, I look at it this way, is that the conditions that face those people, whether or not it was Homo sapiens sapien, or the Neanderthals, or Homo habilis, or Homo heidelbergensis, whatever, they all faced situations in their life that were somewhat turmoil. They didn't have 9-to-5 jobs. They didn't have comfortable couches. They didn't have a modern society where if you can't work, the state takes care of you. It was in turmoil. And that's what we're going to be facing. If we think that we would like to live back then, have the bravery that the people did back then just to survive, well, that's what it's going to take for us to survive in the future in our next generations as they're going over this edge. It's cyclic. And so you could say, I'm sorry that I was born near the end, but you know what? Thinking about it, if you're born near the end, that means you're born near the beginning. And with that, I'm going to leave that as my parting thought. I'm going to shut this off, go back into the house, maybe make some soup, and get better so I can make bows.